Good morning everybody, we're moving on in maths to look at some shape and space, and we're going to start off by looking at perimeter. Now the word perimeter means the distance around the outside of a shape. So it's the distance around the outside of a shape. I'm going to start off with an example just by looking at a rectangle. Now in this rectangle I have a long side which is 3 centimeters and a shorter side which is 1 centimeter. If I want to find the perimeter of the rectangle, I've got to measure all 4 sides and see what the full distance around the rectangle is. So the first thing I have to remember to do is fill in the missing sides. Now with a rectangle, you know from your 2D shape facts that the opposite sides are equal. So if this side is 3 centimeters, then we know that this side of the rectangle will also be 3 centimeters. And if this side of the rectangle is 1 centimeter, then we also know that the opposite side of the rectangle will be 1 centimeter. And once we know all the sides, we can add them up to find out the perimeter. So 3 and 3, 2 3s are 6, and 2 1s are 2. 6 and 2 makes 8. So the perimeter of this rectangle, which I'll mark with a P, is 8 centimeters. Whichever way you add it up is fine. You can do your doubles like I did, or you could just do 3, add 1, add 3, add 1. Or you could do 3, add 1, and multiply that by 2, because you know there's 2 of each side. Whichever way you do it, the answer to that particular question, the perimeter is 8 centimeters for that rectangle. Let's move on and look at some of the challenges you'll be doing today, just to make sure we all know what we're doing. So today we're going to be calculating the perimeter of shapes that can be split into rectangles. That's either whole rectangles or maybe 2 or more rectangles that have been joined together. Now for challenge 1, it says you're going to need a ruler, and what you have to do is use your ruler to measure the centimetres, the sides marked A and B, and then calculate the perimeter of the shape using the rule. And we'll talk about the rule in a moment. But in order to do this challenge, first of all you'll need to be able to print the page off and use your ruler to measure the sides of the rectangles. If you can't print the page off, you can't do challenge 1. Don't worry about that, that's not a problem. Just move on to challenge 2. But if you are able to do it, use your ruler to carefully measure the sides first of all. So if we look at A as an example here, I measured the sides of A and I found out that side A was 3 centimeters, and I found out that side B was 2 centimeters. Now if we take a little look at the rule, it tells us that the perimeter is 2 times A plus B. So A plus B, first of all, in my shape is 3 plus 2, which is 5. So the perimeter is 2 multiplied by 5. When you have a sum like this, where there's a number followed immediately by brackets, that means that whatever's in the brackets, you multiply it by that number. So I'm multiplying 5, because that's what's in my brackets, A and B makes 5, by 2. And my perimeter is 10 centimeters. You can do it that way, or you can simply add up the sides. 3 and 2, and another 3, and another 2 makes 10. As you can see, if you add those together, you get 5, and you can see there's another 2 sides, which are the opposite sides are equal, so they're the same length as these ones, so you're probably able to work out that that's 10 anyway, before adding them all together. Again, if you aren't able to print off the page at home, then you won't be able to do challenge 1, but don't worry about it, and move straight on to challenge 2, which we'll look at now. Challenge 2 says calculate the perimeter of each shape in centimetres. So we've got to add up all the sides to find the perimeter. The perimeter is the distance around the outside of the shape. So to do that we need to know the length of all the sides. And as you can see here, if we look at A, we don't know the length of all the sides in shape A. So we have a little bit of problem solving to do before we can work out the perimeter. Now, you can see here that the horizontal line at the bottom goes the whole way across the shape. Okay, so this horizontal line is the same length as if we put these 2 other horizontal lines together. We know that this is 9 centimeters. We don't know what this line is here, what this side is, but we know that those horizontal sides put together make 12. So 9 plus this side makes 12. And I know that 9 plus 3 makes 12, so I know that this side here, must be 3 centimetres. And again, that's because 9 and 3 make 12. So this side of 9, as you can see if we dragged it down from the top here, plus this side of 3, which again if we drag that down from the top, would equal the length of the longest horizontal side of our shape. Now we're going to use the same method to look at the vertical sides of our shape. This time we have the longest vertical side of our shape blank. We don't know what length that is, but we do know the two shorter sides. This side is 9 centimetres and this vertical side is 3 centimetres. Now if we joined these two together, as you can see, because they start at the very top and very bottom of our shape, they would make the same length as the longest vertical side. You get your 3 centimetres and then you've got your 9 centimetres. So I'm adding them together to get my length. 9 and 3 is 12. So now I have all of the sides of the shape. I have their length. We have to add them up to find the perimeter of the shape. There's a couple of different ways of doing this. The first way might just be to add all the sides up together. Now I can see there's two 12s, so I broke this down into smaller parts. I did 12 and 12, 9 and 9, or 3 and 3. And I got 48 centimetres when I added the totals of those. The other way is just to multiply them by 2, double them, which is probably a quicker way. Double 12, double 9, double 3. And when I add all the totals, I get 48. And again, that worked because I could see in this particular shape that there were 2 of each length. That won't work for all shapes, but it does for this one. So what you're trying to do always is find an efficient way of doing it. That means a way that's quick, but also accurate. I'm going to quickly teach you another way of solving the perimeter of a shape like this that has a little indentation, but otherwise is a regular quadrilateral. And if this trick confuses you, don't worry about it. Just do it the way that I've shown you there now. But if you get a shape like this, where there's a little indentation, it's as if it's a square or a rectangle that's had a corner bitten out of it, what you can do is imagine that corner put back in. So this side, which is 3 centimetres as we worked out earlier, we've pushed it back up to the top. And this side we've pushed back out to the side. So that's 3 centimetres as well. As we worked out, or as we see here on the information given in our shape. The advantage of that is that it lets us solve this as a regular quadrilateral, which is slightly easier to do. Now, at the top, I have 9 and 3. I can see that this length, this horizontal length, is the same as the horizontal length in the bottom. So, altogether, I know that the top of my shape is 12 centimetres. And again with this side it's 9 and 3, so I can tell that this side is 12 centimetres. Again it's the same length as the vertical side which we worked out earlier on. So now I can see that my shape is a square and all the sides are 12 centimetres. And I know from my tables that 12 fours are 48. So it's 12 add 12 add 12 add 12, or to put it more simply, 12 times 4, and the answer is 48 centimetres. Now that's a trick that works for shapes where they would be a quadrilateral if this top corner, or any corner at all, hadn't been taken out of them. You can drag the corner out and make it into a regular quadrilateral. It's a little shortcut for you to learn, but make sure you know how to work out the perimeter normally before you try that shortcut. Challenge 2, question 2 says, these shapes are made by joining the same green and yellow rectangles in different ways. Find the perimeter of each shape in centimetres. Now, if we have a look at A, it gives us the lengths of each of the sides. So the green rectangle is always 4 centimetres wide and 3 centimetres long, and the yellow rectangle is always 5 centimetres wide and 2 centimetres long. And we can use those facts to work out the perimeter. So as you can see, I've used my facts here. I know that if this side is 4 centimeters, this side is also 4 centimeters. And if this side is 5 centimeters, this side is also 5 centimeters. The one that I haven't done is this little side here, because it's not as long as this side. And remember, whenever we work out perimeter, what we're actually doing is measuring the outside of the shape. So it's only that small part of that side that I want to measure. I only want to measure this little bit here. But again, like before, if you remember when we looked at the different vertical lines and horizontal lines, we can always compare those. So this line is vertical, straight up and down. So is this and this. Now, this is the longest vertical side of your shape. And these two shorter ones, if you think about it, if we put those together, they are the same length as that one. This one is 2, and we don't know this one, but the longest one is 3. So 2 and what make 3? Well, 2 and 1 make 3, so I know that this little part here is 1 centimetre. And once I know all the sides, I can add them up to find the perimeter. So 4 and 5 is 9, and 2 is 11, and another 5 is 16. This little one is 17, and 4 is 21, and 3 is 24. So the perimeter of this shape is 24 centimetres. You can obviously use whatever techniques you like to add them up. Maybe you want to go through your shape and double your 5s to make 10, double your 4s to make 8, so that's 18, and then 5 is 23, and your extra one is 24, or whatever way you want to do it. The way you add it is totally up to you, but you just got to make sure that you add up each side to find the total perimeter. Now it's the same dimensions for every rectangle, the same lengths for each side. So if you go over to question B, if you remember here from A, the green rectangle was 4 centimeters by 3 centimeters. It's going to be the same for B. So the longer side will be 4, and the shorter one will be 3. And in the blue one it was 5 and 2. So just remember always to go back to this first one to check the length of each side of your rectangles. Question 3 says find the perimeter of each swimming pool in meters and use the dotted lines to help you. So where these swimming pools, which aren't just normal rectangles, but they're like 2 rectangles joined together, 2 shapes which we join together are called composite shapes. So these swimming pools aren't totally rectangular, they've got a little bit off to the side here, maybe a little kiddie's pool or something like that. The dotted lines show you where the 2 rectangles are separate, and that will be useful, which we'll see in a minute. Now the first thing we have to do if we want to work out the perimeter is look at the missing sides. So we know this side, this side, this side and this side, but we don't know this side and this side. This side here is a horizontal side. So again, we look at the other horizontal sides. The longest one in our shape is 15. The other one that we know is 10. So this one plus the 10 will add up to the 15. The 10 is here, the missing one is here, and together they are the same length as this one, which is 15. So 10 and what make 15? Well, I know that's 5. Now the dotted line is a vertical dotted line. So let's look at the vertical sides of our shape. So the longest one is 15. This one here is 3. We know this is 3 because it's the opposite side of that rectangle. So if this is 3, this is whatever else you add to 3 to make 15, which you will know is 12. 3 and 12 make 15. So I know that this side of my shape is 12. Again, add it up whichever way you like, whichever way you find easiest. I'm going to double my 15s there, so that's 30. Add the 10 is 40. The 5 and 3 make 8, so that's 48, and if I add 12 onto 48 I get 60, so I know the answer to that is 60 meters. If you remember back to challenge 2 question 1, we talked about a shortcut way to work that out. And what we do again is we take this corner and we imaginarily drag it out so that we make a single quadrilateral like this. So we're going to rethink these sides here. This side is 15, so the opposite side is going to be the same. So that's 15. And this quadrilateral is actually going to be a square because this side is 15 and so is that. And 4 15s make 60, so you can use that shortcut if you're confident enough.